Hey, Brutus! How are ya, huh? You know, we missed the dog days of summer. What did we do for you? Maybe we can do something for you today. Okay, this is my Potter's Journal. Let's see what's going on in the studio today. Yeah, Brutus. Oh, Brutus. Okay, these dog days of summer are over, but for Brute, every day's a dog day. What about for yours? Okay, we've got some pet bowls in small, medium, 2 pounds, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. And some more, pretty much the same, except we did decorate one here. Basically, though, it is a classic, simple design. Fairly heavy, because people can step on them and break them. Okay, these will go well with the pet urns, and I did last spring. So we'll have combined market. Maybe more demand on this. And stepping it up a notch, we have got slow feed pet bowls, we'll say, not dog bowls. We don't want to limit our market, but maybe on this it is more dog related. Is this crazy or what? Okay, 5, 4, and 3 pounds. Let's see what's going on in the studio today. And of the 1, 2, 3, 4 sizes of dog bowls I'm going to do pet bowls, this is size number 2. Okay, I'm going to do 1 pound, 2 pounds, that's what this is, 3 pounds, and 4 pounds. And on the slow feed bowls, I'm going to do 3, 4, and 5, because they're going to take a lot of extra clay, because they will have all the extra ridges coming up through the center. But we will start easy, we will start small and work up. The best way to start on the divided ones is to master a chip and dip plate with the dip part in the center. I think 2 pounds is really a good all-around size that you could probably fit enough food for a large dog in it. And you know what, looking at the ones I've already made, I need to bring this out a little bit more. It's always hard when you're doing something new. You don't know how much clay it is, you don't know how far it'll stretch. But hopefully we will get a line up, and each progressive size lump of clay will be a bigger pot. It's not always the case. And this is something I think really should be fairly heavy. Not because the dogs are going to be rough with it, but because they're on the floor. And I've found that people have a habit of stepping on them. Something that can get broken, not something to be made fine and delicate. I did see somewhere on both YouTube or Etsy, somebody had an entire business formed around dog bowls or pet bowls. They were all very small, and the rims looked very delicate. You can see I got a thick, heavy rim up here. If you can't do it this way, you can try a rolled rim. And if this is your hobby, you can write your pet's name in the side. Okay, I'm cutting under the rib, the lip with the rib here, to give it a little emphasis to the top. I usually have the camera down lower, not sure that you can see that. And then I'm giving this a slight curve on the bottom. And I did that first with the rib and shaping it, and now I'm cutting a little extra out, and I'm doing a very small undercut that'll be unglazed. So all you will see when you look at the side of the pot is glaze. You won't see that little undercut, and that's where also that'll stop glaze from having it stick to the shelf. Okay, get the excess water up, clean the lip again, and this is not really the form for me. I'm more about the pots, and this is really rather plain and ordinary, but we will, a little bit of decorating, we will put a couple of thin lines, okay, pushed in on the side, just something to catch the glaze a little bit. If you're doing this yourself, you can make your dog's portrait on the side. Okay, you could put a name on the side. If you're doing this, okay, to sell, anything you put in there is going to limit the audience for them. Okay. Even if it's as generic as dog or cat, that these could be used for a cat or a dog pet bowls. Okay, so we are now ready to move on to the slow feeder. Okay, so here we go. I don't know how much clay this is going to use. Fortunately, I just finished a series of chip and dip plates. So I would say if this is a new form to you, or especially if you're a beginner, that's kind of a prerequisite. That we are going to need to center this very low and wide to the wheel to start with. And the first part should be easy, since it's the same as making a chip and dip plate. And I don't know if I also wasn't doing a little series of dog bowls. I don't know that I would have wanted to attempt this one. That, okay, if you're a potter that's very much about making, art pots, this is one of those things it's more a technical thing. There's not much room for the creative bit of it. And so we are going to open up the center. Just as we would for a chip and dip plate. Get the bottom still a little bit thick down there. Okay, and then when I'm doing the chip and dip, any part that comes up and is not centered, I bring over to the side before I cut down in here for that wall, leaving what I think I need to take up for the wall. And here's the part that's not going to be easy. We want them all to be the same height, except the outer, which I think should be taller. So on a chip and dip, the top, the heights can vary a bit on that center bowl. But in this instance, we're going to want them all to be the same. I'm not one for I don't do a lot of trimming on the top of my pots, So I just have a feeling that this we will need to trim to get them, the inner ones, all at the right height. And all of this for the dog days of summer. Hopefully nobody like me, hopefully no one else really knows what that is. Apparently it has something to do with the dog star. Okay, rising next to the sun. And already I can see this isn't going to work. We're not going to... I was hoping to get another ring in here. We're only going to have 3. And this is 5 pounds of clay. So this is a lot of clay here. I left too much on that center ring. Well, I don't know yet. We'll see. Maybe I didn't. Okay, so thickness. I think we're okay all round. And I don't know about for you, but that little pinhole opens up. So we need to go over that again, be sure it's closed. It opens up in the firing. Okay, so at least for me, the middle one is going to tell the tale of the height. Or, yeah, the middle. And the inner one, there we go, is going to be trimmed off. So this is quite a technical thing, as opposed to making a beautiful pot. So if you like to make pots that require a trick, that requires forcing clay in directions it really doesn't want to go, this may be for you. If you like to make beautiful pots and beautiful forms, this just might not be for you. I think a lot of this too would matter on how big the dog is. Okay, we've got it. I want to get a nice shape on this outer lip, and I want it to overhang the outer edge of the pot, and I want these to match the other bowls, should somebody want a water bowl to match. So I'm going to try to get the same kind of curve and undercut or bevel under the lip on the outside, and then get the same kind of angle on it going into the wheel, and the same kind of, sorry you won't be seeing this, or at least it happened, ridge or line circling the bowl. Okay, that's about all the creative bit, those 2 lines out there to catch the glaze. Okay, clean off the bat, clean off the wheel. And okay, not bad. There we go, a slow feeder dog bowl. Now for my dog, we've got to do something. We've got to decorate one for my brute. My little Brutus Maximus. My little sports star. I don't know. He's not the artist. He's not an appreciator of art. Ralph was the art lover. But we'll do this for Brute anyway. Just simple. Little bit of slip trailing. Ta-da! Oh, Brutus! Brutus! Okay, he's happy now. Stop back and see what's going on in the studio. Next week, we'll get these fired. Smile for the camera, Brutus. Hey, yeah. You're a good boy, Brutus. You are. Hey, Brutus. Do you want to play football? Football. Football.